something about her rise feels both familiar and unexpectedly different. Welcome to the channel Star Spotlight. In recent months, the name Karoline Leavitt has been appearing more frequently across headlines and conversations. Many recognize her as a young voice stepping into a space often dominated by experience and tradition. Yet what continues to draw attention is not just her presence, but the reaction it creates. It is often said that public life rewards consistency. But in her case, the response has been anything but predictable. Support, criticism, curiosity, they seem to follow her every move. And what is less known is how quickly this attention began to build. Long before the current spotlight, her journey was already taking shape behind the scenes. Raised with a strong sense of direction, she pursued opportunities that aligned with her ambitions early on. Those who followed her path closely recall a steady progression, education, involvement, and a clear interest in communication and public affairs. But even then, there were hints that her trajectory would not be typical. As she stepped into more visible roles, something shifted. Her voice began to reach wider audiences, and with that came both recognition and scrutiny. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. Calm, direct, and often unwavering. And that is where the intrigue deepens. Because in a landscape where many carefully navigate their words, her approach has been perceived as notably firm. Some view this as confidence. Others interpret it differently. The contrast itself has become part of the story. The turning point, as many remember, came when her visibility expanded rapidly. Appearances, interviews, and public discussions placed her in positions where every word carried weight. And with that exposure came a new level of attention, one that few anticipate until they experience it firsthand. What is less talked about, however, is the balance required behind the scenes. Public figures often walk a quiet line between personal conviction and public perception. In her case, this balance appears to be an ongoing process. Maintaining clarity while navigating reaction is no simple task. Yet it is precisely this tension that keeps audiences watching. There are also lesser-known aspects that add depth to her story. Those familiar with her earlier work often describe a disciplined approach, one shaped by preparation rather than impulse. It suggests that what appears sudden from the outside may, in fact, be the result of long-term focus. Still, the core conflict remains. How does someone so early in their public journey handle such intense attention? It is a question without a simple answer. For some, pressure leads to retreat. For others, it sharpens resolve. In her case, the response seems to lean toward persistence, continuing forward despite the noise that surrounds her. And perhaps that is what continues to cause a stir. Not just her words or actions, but the way she remains present within the conversation, even as opinions shift around her. It reflects a broader reality of modern public life, where visibility can both elevate and challenge in equal measure. As time moves forward, her story is still being written. What she represents to different audiences may continue to evolve. But the attention she commands suggests that her presence is not a passing moment. It is part of a larger narrative still unfolding. In the end, what remains most compelling is not the reaction itself, but what it reveals. About expectations, about perception, and about the space between who someone is and how they are seen. If you found this story thoughtful, feel free to share your perspective in the comments. You can also like the video if it resonated with you, and subscribe for more calm, in-depth stories that explore the people behind the headlines.